Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. It is championship week. Oh, man. What we've talked about backstage is this kind of feels like a throw in the towel week for some NFL football teams, which sadly really hurts every one of us. That the NFL team should clearly take a vested interest in is the fake fantasy football team owners. But it really is going to affect a lot of guys that have name brand value that you could legitimately, and Ryan's going to get to it, you could legitimately bench 3 top 10 running backs this week in fantasy football. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Joining me as always, Joshua Hudson, Ryan Weisse. Gentlemen, how are we this week? I'm not in a championship, so I don't give a shit how this week goes. How are you guys?
Sucks for you.
Hey, I made semifinals in Scott Fish, so fuck all of you.
I'm with you.
Kudos.
Not in Scott Fish. I wasn't with you.
Yeah.
I'm in 6 championships. I am sad to report that by 1.8 points, I did not survive in the IDP guys invitational. So we have no club fantasy representation in the top 10.
Dang.
Yeah, I think I finished 16th, so I was like four spots.
Yeah, you were 20.
Ryan.
You were 22 points out and like 4 spots behind me.
Fucking dropped an egg this week. I was mad. Ugh. If I'd started Jared Goff of all people, I would have made it.
Who would have thought on the road, Jared Goff?
Who would have thought? Well, to be granted, Detroit looked like shit for 3 quarters.
They really did, yeah.
So
thank God for Shane Zylstra, tight end 1.
Right.
Inject that. You want to know how many? You want to know who's? Fuck me. Hold on. Time out. You want to know who you could have picked up that isn't 67% owned in fucking Yahoo leagues that could have scored more points than Cole Kmet?
Shane Zylstra.
I was about to say Zane Zylstra. I don't even know his fucking name.
Zylstra.
Shane Zylstra. He's not even the better known of the Zylstra brothers.
Nope.
Wait, there's brothers, multiple?
Yes, yeah. Brandon Zylstra is a very good special teams player.
Yeah. On Detroit. They're brothers.
Yes, they're brothers. Brandon Zylstra, special teamer. Shane is not even the better of the brothers, which is crazy.
He was last week.
Wow. Shout out Shane Zylstra. Hello, everybody. And I see Czar, Albert, and Elixirs always kicks us off with a nut kicker. He's going to say Kamara, Etienne, Akers to bench, and I'm going to cry. I'll give you a hint.
Look, I love Elixirs, but honestly, at this point, dude, the amount of bad advice we've given you, I don't know why you keep tuning in.
I was going to say, though, just to say, I don't know if it was going to come up on the show. I love Etienne and Akers this week quite a bit. I think they feast this week.
How about the Rams last week? Also,
Yeah.
hold on. Can we give a round of applause to the Broncos? Finally.
Yeah. Josh, like 35
that was
minutes
announced like
ended.
5 minutes after we ended Monday morning show. Not even.
We called it again on that show. Josh was like, he better not survive Black Monday. He didn't survive last Monday.
Dude, that was unbelievable. Like, honestly, the only thing that made that game somewhat watchable was that it was on Nickelodeon. I didn't even watch the CBS broadcast. I only watched the Nickelodeon broadcast.
I didn't watch any football from Sunday or Monday. Like, I just kind of fell into the holiday, so I only saw Saturday stuff.
Let me tell you about Monday Night Football. It sucked.
Yeah, it did.
I would say there were 2 ball don't lie moments over the weekend, and they were perfect. It was the Chargers not getting a first down on a very clear fucking first down that they should have gotten, or at least gotten a better spot on it and remeasured or whatever. And then, I apologize. Flip that back. The Colts got a bullshit first down because there was no way the dude got the first. Next play, Nick Foles throws an interception.
Yeah,
Kismet. Absolutely kismet. And then there was another one in that exact same game. I think Herbert had the Chargers were driving, shouldn't have been a play or a first down, whatever. Herbert next play throws a pick. Ball don't lie moments all over the field. It was fantastic. Tua throws 3 picks. Now, could you blame it on the potential fucking, what is this, his 17th concussion in 17 weeks? This is absurd.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know who that falls on, right? Because it's supposedly an independent neurologist that needs to be looking at these people. But at the same time, how has this happened not once but twice, and they already changed the rule?
Sounds like
it's not even that. It's happened to the same person.
The same person.
Like, this is absurd.
It's got to be the organization. Like, that has to be on Mike McDaniel, the GM, the training staff, whatever it is. It has to fall on them.
Well, yes and no, because if he's not, I guess it falls on the offensive line. Because if he's not showing symptoms and he's not, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they can't say you might get a concussion, so we can't put you out there. I believe there are studies that after a certain period of time, you are more likely to get another concussion, and maybe he's still falling in that, but then that's the entire fucking NFL that needs to be looked at. So.
It falls on the offensive line. Don't let him get sacked, idiots.
Yeah.
That's where I thought you were going with it.
He's fragile.
Clearly, you were not. But
no, that is where I didn't go that blunt with it. But I'm just saying, I don't know who you can hold responsible for this. Maybe his parents. His brain just bruises too easily.
I gotta say, like, and I mean, you have no idea if, like, the entire second half he was obviously, like, feeling something. But so what? One throw, clear overthrow. 2 has done that a few times this year, where he has literally just dropped his elbow too far and overshot the receiver. There were the other 2 were just straight up, what the hell were you looking at? Those were just, he misread the coverage. He thought Jair Alexander was going to be in man, and he wasn't. He dropped back into zone. They played cover 2.
Did you hear Jair Alexander break the play down?
Yes, it was hilarious.
One of the best I've ever seen.
It was hilarious. Yeah. Tua, that one's excusable, even though you're an NFL quarterback and everyone says you're top 5, you should probably know the difference between cover 2 and man to man. But neither here nor there. The other one, I think Rasul Douglas picked off. That was bad. That was just awful. What the hell were you looking at? Jair Alexander, at least, that was a misread by the quarterback. Very clearly, it was cover 2. Quick one from Czar before we get into upsides, downsides here. Fields, Goff, Lamar in 3 championship games, 1K on the line. What should I do?
Can I just tell you really quick? I love when people throw in how much money's on the line. It's like, no pressure, dude. I just, get this pick right for me.
Yeah. Hey, we got him to this point.
Yeah.
We got him to this point.
He said, don't cost me 10 Benjis or anything.
So Fields is in Detroit. Jared Goff is obviously at home.
In Detroit.
And the Ravens got flexed to Sunday Night Football. They're
I
at
wouldn't
home.
bank on Lamar playing and all that.
Yeah, I would.
It's
not like Lamar's playing.
To me, Lamar's out no matter what of this conversation. Because I honestly think of the 3 of them, he would be QB3 anyways, even if he was healthy. So are you going with the rushing upside and clearly they're going to have to score of Justin Fields? Or are you banking on literal Joe Montana at home and Jared Goff? So I'm going Fields.
I'm sticking with my answer from Monday, Czar. I'm going Fields. I brought it up to Josh. This feels like the Herbert Justin Fields argument we had a few weeks ago that I was very much on the wrong side of. I'm sticking with the rushing upside. He torched Detroit the last time they played. Give me Justin Fields.
I think Detroit's ready for a bounce back. They got embarrassed against Carolina. Green Bay keeps winning. Detroit needs this game. Goff at home is a mortal lock for 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Correct.
Like that's, I mean, I'll take that. And that's not even like it's a safe floor, but it's still a pretty high floor that even if Fields goes for like 40, I still feel like you're pretty safe with that depending on the rest of your lineup.
Yeah, don't say that.
Well, I mean, 250 and 2 is only 22 points. If Fields goes for 40, you're going to be
I
pissed.
I get that.
Kicking yourself.
No. To me, Fields is going in the wrong direction, right? We've seen his highs, and he's just kind of been doing this. the last few weeks.
Well, yeah, as everybody on his team dies.
That's what I'm
Makes
saying.
life a little
Literally.
harder. So.
Yeah.
It's funny because Josh, remember one of your downsides last week was obviously the Carolina running backs, and my dad listened to the show, and obviously I watched the games with my dad, and
No, that first drive fucked me. Like
he saw Chuba Hubbard 3 rushes, 70 yards, and then Blackshear 8-yard touchdown run. He's like, Josh just lost his downside in the first drive, and I was like, hell yeah, he did. You didn't even say Blackshear. You just literally were like Chuba.
I just said RBs. I wasn't really throwing Blackshear into that conversation.
You were like, who the fuck is this guy? Touchdown. Yeah, Deonta Foreman had a great game, and I mean Chuba
All
as well.
of them did.
So, okay, into the upsides. Josh, you 2-1 last week, 28-15-2 on the season.
Skipping right over the injury news, huh?
Oh yeah. No, we can go there. Sorry. I was also on the downsides. I'm a moron. I was too far down on the show sheet. Injury updates. Yeah, I guess we can go through these. Broncos fired Nathaniel Hackett. Thank God. 15 games too late. Raiders QB change. Derek Carr is inactive the remaining 2 games. Jarrett Stidham is the starter. We'll get to him in the downsides. Derrick Henry is, just in case you were wondering on starting Jarrett Stidham, everybody, he's a downside.
I might have
he's on Ryan's stream of the week list. He made 5. Derrick Henry is doubtful for Thursday. The game means nothing for Tennessee as they can only get into the playoffs via a division win against Jacksonville in week 18. Tua is in concussion protocol. Teddy Bridgewater will start if Tua isn't cleared. Mike White cleared and starting. Zach Wilson has been demoted beneath Joe Flacco. At the very least, he could say he was demoted beneath a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But that's also 11 years removed Super Bowl winning quarterback, Joe Flacco. So at this point, he's nothing. Jalen,
technically, isn't he behind Chris Streveler too?
Chris Streveler. Jalen Hurts did not participate in Wednesday's walkthrough. He's uncertain for Sunday's game against New Orleans. Lamar Jackson did DNP. Carson Wentz will officially start against Cleveland. That's a horseshit quarterback room if I've ever seen one. Yeah. And Colt McCoy has cleared concussion protocol. He will start or should start Sunday against Atlanta. The Trace McSorley manifestation did not happen. So it was kind of sad. I'm not going to lie.
Worked out well for Greg Dortch.
Yo, what the fuck? What the hell? I didn't.
Dude, slot receivers in that Arizona offense, they put work in.
Greg Dortch hasn't done anything since week 1. What do you mean?
Yeah. That's when he was filling in for Rondale Moore.
Yep.
And Rondale Moore's on IR.
Rondale Moore's been out the last 7 weeks.
Rondale Moore has been out for a while. Dortch came out of nowhere, but
Dortch has done nothing. So I didn't watch the game. I just saw the stat sheet because I went to see how Trace McSorley did. I regret looking at the stat sheet. But I saw Greg Dortch 10 for 83. And I saw D-Hop 1 for 4. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But Hopkins had 10 targets.
Dortch had 11.
Dortch had 11.
He's the number 1.
Dude, wide receiver 1, Greg Dortch, 18.3 points. This is why fantasy football sucks. None of you started Greg Dortch, and he was a top 24 receiver.
Oh, you mean last week? Certainly not.
Yeah. No one started Greg Dortch because he had 2% of the snap share the previous 5 weeks. It was ridiculous. Okay. That is all the injury news. Quickly on the upsides here, and then we'll answer some questions. Josh, you were 1-2 last week. Najee was RB13. Dumbass. Just kidding. 10 for 34.
You were all in on Najee too. I don't want to hear it.
I did not say top 12.
You were pumping him up on Saturday's show.
Oh, you were dick riding.
Did I say top 12? Did I say top 12?
The way that you were talking him up, you had him top 5, bitch. I don't want to hear it.
You guys
so hold on. Time out.
Shit out of me.
Time out. I didn't say top 12, did I? Top 5 is a whole different story. I didn't.
You
say
probably
top
said
12.
top 13.
What?
I did say top 13. Thanks, Ryan.
I remember.
Yeah, thank you. Tyler Algier, top 12 running back this week against Arizona. Jared Goff, top 5 quarterback. Already quickly touched on him. And Zonovan Knight, top 12 this week at Seattle. I'll give you the Zonovan Knight analysis, folks. Zach Wilson is not playing quarterback. There's Josh's Zonovan White analysis. I can almost guarantee that's what he had planned to say.
Hey, that might also be my Tyler Conklin analysis for Stream of the Week.
There you go. Okay.
You go.
Why is Tyler Conklin Stream of the Week? It's because Zach
Mike
Wilson
White.
is not playing quarterback.
Yeah.
I want
To be
to.
fair, Conklin was, the most serviceable target last week. I think he had 4 catches, 34 yards. It was the best one they had.
I want to be fair to Zach Wilson, because I do think there's like 2 things he really needs to fix, and I think he's fine. His footwork is terrible. He does not step into his passes.
Nope.
Once he does that, I think 60% of the problem is figured out. The other part, he can't read the field. Everything else is fine. But the reason he's inaccurate is because he's not stepping into his throws. If he was stepping into his throws and is inaccurate, that's an issue. But he's not stepping into his throws. He's literally just chucking it up like he's playing in the backyard agaed 2-year-olds.
His legs look horizontal sometimes.
They are horizontal. He almost never has his left foot in front of his right foot. They're almost always parallel with each other in the wrong direction, which is not good. So if he fixes that, it in turn fixes his accuracy. Obviously, still needs to work on it, but 9 times out of 10, when you step into a pass, you're going to be more accurate. His field vision sucks. That's something he needs to work on with film and his coaches. But I think half the battle is figuring out his footwork and mechanics. Once he has that down, I think he becomes a lot better.
Are we starting to see this weird thing? And obviously, it's not exactly Shanahan's system, but it's a San Francisco-esque system. Are we starting to see this weird thing where the obscure quarterback is better than the big name? Like Mike White is better in this offense. You could argue Jimmy G and even Brock Purdy look better in this offense than Trey Lance. Now, obviously, we didn't get to see a lot of Trey Lance, but like there's just this weird thing where these obscure quarterbacks tend to do better than these like big college system quarterbacks.
So what I guess what you could say with that is they had more time to learn it. They weren't thrown into it, maybe. So like they're on the bench, they're learning it,
That's actually really, I didn't even think about that. So yeah, maybe.
Well, it's weirdly something I brought up because I do believe if backup quarterbacks shine, that is 1, a reflection on the system and how good it is, but 2, that's also a reflection on like the starting quarterback is like, okay, so anybody could do it. So I had brought up the question just out loud on Christmas is, if Gardner Minshew plays well and wins this game, does that hurt Jalen Hurts' MVP campaign? To me, no, it doesn't, because he's had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
But you do have to you have to take some hesitation. Also, Allen and Mahomes have been nowhere near, I think, his level of play. I think Jalen Hurts has been fantastic this year. But I think
Mahomes I can make an argument for, but
fair. I still think Hurts is a clear and far away MVP. We look at it and say, if Gardner Minshew could do what the MVP is doing, does that not hurt the MVP status? Or does that just mean Gardner Minshew should have a fucking starting job in the NFL, which he should?
Definitely means that part.
Yeah, which he should. So, just things there. We have like 17 questions, so I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, we knew what this show was gonna be about.
Oh yeah, of course. George made it to the championship game because the Chargers stopped throwing in the fourth quarter. Hell yeah. 1-2, his opponent had Keenan Allen going. Wow. That was close. Keenan Allen had a day, so congratulations to you, sir. He had the Denver defense. Okay, George, did you play the lottery? Because you should if you played against Keenan Allen and started Denver's defense.
And won.
So,
yeah.
Josh, do you have the inside track on AJ Brown's knee?
I don't know about inside track, but obviously we know he hurt the knee against Dallas. Missing practice today or Wednesday. I'm not looking too much into it. A lot of veterans tend to get Wednesday off anyway. If I had to look, the last 2, all Philly has to do is win one of these last 2 games, and they lock up the number 1 seed. My guess is AJ Brown will play. If they get to a point where they're blowing out New Orleans, he's going to play a lot less, basically. I think he'll ultimately end up playing. I don't think I'd count on him for a full game, but even in a half, he could do a lot of damage. So,
and that is the concern that we were addressing before the show. Is that's a good story to describe week 17 for a ton of players. Christian McCaffrey, I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but I'm worried about how much we're going to see a lot of these guys in the second half. But with guys like AJ Brown and Christian McCaffrey, does it matter? And so well,
to be fair, San Francisco still has a shot to not only get the 2nd seed, but also a first round bye.
They do.
So Yeah, they do. So, and that's
Wow.
the thing. If Philly loses these next 2 games and San Francisco keeps winning, San Francisco could ultimately get the number 1 seed. Once Philly wins one of these last 2 games,
it's over.
Then yeah, you can pull McCaffrey. You don't have to play him. You certainly don't have to run him near as much.
And Minnesota,
and then we probably see a lot more Jordan Mason versus Christian McCaffrey. So
you mean running back 2 according to Pro Football Focus, Jordan Mason?
Yeah, buddy.
Hell yeah. Gator says McSorley can't pass. Dortch's A-dot was 4. You know what? I still have faith in McSorley, okay?
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Maybe I just got emotionally attached. I have zero faith.
Real quick, back to the CMC thing. Philly plays at 1, San Fran plays at 4.
They already know.
So yeah. So if Philly wins at 1:00, San Francisco will know by game time basically how much they truly need to play CMC.
Yeah.
And Minnesota is in that exact same boat.
Yeah, they're at 425.
I'll probably be referencing a lot of that. If you guys need an article to cover this, Dan Hendry for Football Guys put out a really good Week 17 motivation article where he talks about what teams are watching what and how motivated they are for these games. I recommend checking it out.
Yeah. Gator also threw in just a Conklin mess. Seattle gives up the second most PPR points at the tight end in the NFL. They clearly want to throw the football with Mike White when he's in the lineup. Yep. So, definitely a good stat there. I want to preface that Josh also said that. So
yes, I did.
I
was very much down on.
That
Gabe
was the
Davis.
whole show.
Yeah, that was pretty
show?
consensus. We were all down on Gabe Davis.
Hey, Elixirs, don't call me out. Me. No, I was pissed when I saw it. I was like Buffalo scored. Who is it? Gabe Davis. Really?
I'm starting to get concerned about how much we're reading into these damn weather reports because it was cold, but that wind was not affecting QB passes at all. It was affecting kicks. It was not affecting
Justin Fields, who has the arm strength of a fucking wet spaghetti noodle, was throwing it 50 yards down the field with no issue.
We got bamboozled for 2 straight weeks on these weather reports. So.
I completely, the kicking was very much affected.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we all said Josh Allen, like, that one might kick us in the balls, but Gabe Davis is like 80 yards down the field.
We thought it was going to be Diggs, not Allen, or not Dave. Davis.
Yeah, no, I didn't like Diggs, but like
that's what I'm saying. We thought if we were going to get, but we thought if we were going to get kicked in the nuts, it would have been by Diggs. Not Gabe Davis. So.
Yeah. Okay. Caden, you lost Tua and Henry. Tough. Honestly, Tua this week probably wasn't the best play anyways against New England in cold weather. He's won every game he's played against the Patriots, but he's still not the best quarterback in cold weather. So I wouldn't say that one's too much of a big hit. Henry, you might say, is a big hit. That one hurts. Yeah, but he says he's rolling Danny Dimes and Haskins.
Hassan Haskins.
I don't know that I would go direct backup unless you have to. Go look for Tyler Algier. That's been the flavor of the week, and I think he eats this week. So,
yeah.
Donovan Knight might have been cut after his dud last week, and he should have a nice week as well.
He's had 2 straight duds.
Yeah, back-to-back duds. Dallas's
first one was acceptable.
Was pretty good.
Last week was not. So
Dallas's run defense is also pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. I would have started Henry against that Dallas team. I'm not starting Hassan Haskins.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah, agreed. Czar has start 1. Waller, Schultz, Ingram, Taysom. Yes, I said it. Hill. That was a perfect Taysom Hill game last week. I don't know why he wasn't the starting quarterback. I could flex another tight end if Pollard is out. So of these tight ends, who are we feeling?
Oh, it's Evan Ingram for me.
It's close between Schultz and Ingram. Dallas has motivation and no running game. I think I probably go Schultz, but I like Ingram too.
I would go. I mean, Evan Ingram is Dave fucking Casper at this point. Evan Ingram is lighting the world on fire. They want to run the entire offense through him.
Yeah.
He plays Houston, right? That's who they're playing this week?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, Houston doesn't yield a ton to quarterbacks nor wide receivers, but tight ends do their job against Houston.
I am so glad you said that because what I couldn't figure out when I thought this game was going to matter for the Raiders is, and I guess it's just turnovers, San Fran is one of the best teams against the quarterback and one of the worst teams against the wide receiver in fantasy. And that is just so confusing to me.
Yeah, who did San Fran play last week? Why am I blanking?
San Fran was Washington last week.
Yeah, we said Terry McLaurin and like those guys would have a decent game, but the quarterbacks would suck.
Yeah.
Worked out well.
Yeah, Josh called the benching.
He did call the benching, and that's why I also have called the benching this week on my downsides. Is it going to happen? God, no. Can I manifest it? Yes. Yes, it will be manifested.
What's funny is I have not looked at the sheet. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you are.
I look forward to hearing you ranting about it. I won't.
Thank you. Thank you. George asking the Tampa defense be trusted this week against the Panthers. Other streaming options include Washington, Atlanta, and potentially Arizona. Gator chimes in and says, hell fucking yeah. Obviously, Tampa will play the Panthers. Washington will play the Browns at home. And I'm like going back and forth.
Atlanta's Arizona at home and
Arizona's Atlanta on the road.
I'm playing Tampa Bay. They're the only one with Washington has a lot to play for, but Cleveland has something to prove. And I just don't really trust the Washington defense. I'm okay with Washington. Tampa needs to win this game, and I think they're going to come out and do well against Carolina. So I would go Tampa in this situation.
Got to play a team that needs to win.
Yep. That's the big thing this week is focusing on those teams that need to win. I brought that up in the waiver article. So
he also said, like to shout out Gator. He told me to play Burrow over Fields. Yeah, I mean, the first half for the Bengals was electric. They forgot what football was in the second half is the issue. Yeah. So good job. You won. I mean, in reality, Joe Burrow should have had 450 passing yards and 700 touchdowns in that game. Also, fuck you, Trenton Irwin. Why the hell are you running Tyler Boyd's routes? Why are you running Tyler Boyd's routes? I said, sorry. So his second touchdown, that's fine. That was a 4-receiver set. That was a planned play. He's the 4th receiver. I'm fine with that. The seam route, that is Tyler Boyd's touchdown. And I was angry about it because that was my play against the Patriots. And I was right. He ran against Miles Bryant.
I wonder if Boyd's a little bit more questionable than I
think he is
privy to. Yeah.
I 100% think he is because I was sitting there, I'm like, I knew he came in with an injury, but there were points in times where he was non-existent for back to like multiple plays. And Trent Irwin was in.
I imagine dislocated finger in a cold weather game like that was probably something they needed to be concerned about.
And I mean, the slightest at any point could just re-aggravate it. So yeah, hey, shout out Trenton Irwin. You know, you're wearing an irrelevant number at the slot receiver position. So you're doing something right. I love it, but just not that week when I called Tyler Boyd. I'm happy I called the Miles Bryant sucks aspect of it, but that wasn't too hard. Ugh. Congrats, Trenton, you dick. Caden says someone that missed the playoffs took out. Yeah, see, now that's a dick move. That's a dick move, right?
Hey, Josh, tell the story you were telling us offline about the dick move that's going on.
Oh, I'm not bringing that up on the show.
Okay, I'll bring it up on the show. I'll bring it up on the show. So one of our writers, who will go unnamed, he may be a lawyer, may not be a lawyer. So you can tell how shady he is, maybe with his legal practices.
Oh, stop!
I'm just kidding. No. He's in a 3rd place game and it's for money. So this is fine. He says, I don't want X person, who's in the championship to win. So I'm going to block him from picking up quarterbacks. I think that's fine as long as you're playing for something. And apparently
just throwing out the guy only has Jalen and Tua and they both are questionable between Josh, who he's playing in the championship, and someone from the 3rd place game. They have now picked up every other starting quarterback and this guy has no options. So.
Oh, he has Nick Foles.
Oh, okay.
On waivers.
Three
he could still pick up Nick Foles. Let me rephrase that.
Do interceptions count for your team this week?
Is it one of those opposite leagues?
Holy shit, he's bad. Zara says he's pretty disappointed in the Denver defense last week. Certainly feel like they gave up. You know who hasn't given up? My balls, thanks to Manscaped. Hell yeah.
I figured that was a good segue for us.
What a transition. Honestly, I didn't even read I was reading the comment live. I didn't even pre-read it. So I didn't even know it was going to be.
Joe.
Josh, find the intro video. Okay? Code Club Fantasy, 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com. With all that Christmas money your aunts and uncles gave you, you can use it to shave your sack. Okay?
And all that championship money we're about to win you.
Yeah, Czar, you can literally buy the whole fucking catalog with that 1K, hopefully. We'll see.
There you go.
Okay, real quick before we get to Lee's question, we'll leave that ticker up as we go through the upsides. Ryan, you were 2-1 last week, 10-34 on the season. You got 20% of your wins last week.
On my gimmick Gardner Minshew week.
Yeah.
Which is horseshit. He had the best upside week on a Devonta Smith ruined that secondary. Holy God. That catch on the sideline, I had to pull my sweatshirt over my pants.
If I had flipped the 2 wide receivers, I would have went 3-0 last week with the 2 touchdowns and the fantasy points. So.
God, it's tough. It's tough.
It is. It's tough being this good.
But this week you have Travis Etienne top 5 against Houston. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin score a touchdown. So technically calling a 2-touchdown game again, so that won't happen. And then Cole Kmet top 5 against Detroit. I think his best game of the year came against Detroit.
Sure fucking did.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet.
That's why it won't happen again.
Stud.
That's why it won't happen again. Exactly. My picks, I'm 15-30 on the year. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. The upsides, however we fucking did them this year, I think we all got a little too cocky. Because after
we're definitely having fun with them.
We're having way more fun.
And I think it's a better conversation because when we did these before, we spent most of our time explaining why we thought we were justified. With this, we're just talking about guys we think are going to do shitty. And here's the thing. If we weren't putting numbers to it, we're actually pretty accurate about who's doing good and who's doing bad. But the problem is we're putting numbers to it. Like I'm predicting 2 touchdown games every damn week. It's like stupid.
Well, no one's holding a gun to your head and saying predict a 2-touchdown game, Ryan.
Entertainment, baby. This is showbiz. That's what I'm all about.
Go to our accountability show. It just says Ryan.
We should go back and see how many weeks I ruined with 2 touchdowns.
You literally.
I might do that. I'm going to do that for our accountability show.
You haven't hit a single one of them.
I think I got one, but I'm going to go.
No, you have not. There's no way. If you got one, there's no way.
You better hope I didn't get one.
Oh. Okay, I was 1-2 last week. I have Drake London top 15 against Arizona. Apparently, he's the offense now. That's cool. That's good.
That's how it should have been all season.
I know.
Yeah, no shit.
I know. Giants defense top 10 against Indy, hoping for another Nick Foles meltdown.
Yeah, that'll be. Well, even if it's Sam Ehlinger, that's still a great call. I mean, come on. I've had a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, are the Giants worth picking up this week?" 1,000%.
Hey,
100%.
their pass rush, Azeez Ojulari. Holy shit, he's looked good.
Well, and it's all revolving around Thibodeau.
Well, because he's disrupting, but then Ojulari
just came off of IR 3 weeks ago, and he has been shot out of a cannon since coming off of the IR.
Yeah,
so.
he looks.
Those two together are nice.
He looks ridiculous. And Mike White, top 10 against Seattle. Love it. Love Mike White. Okay. Lee, he's in my 5th championship in 6 years. Hell yeah. He's yet to win. You are like the Buffalo Bills, my friend.
Yeah.
Need one
Shouldn't
flex.
say that to a Patriots fan. Come on, Joe.
Why? The Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls. That was the best fucking time of our lives because we sucked back then.
No, never mind.
Dumbass.
Not really what I meant by that. But okay.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't know where he was going with that, honestly. 1 flex, 1 receiver in an STD league. Najee, Deonta Foreman, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Watson, Jalen Waddle. So the first question with the flex is, are you starting Deonta Foreman, Najee Harris, or Brian Robinson over any of these receivers? Because if not, you're going all receivers. Is the question.
Watson's questionable.
He is. He got injured in that game against Miami. Yeah. If Colt McCoy's in, I'm playing DeAndre Hopkins against the Atlanta secondary. That's the must start for me. I don't like Najee.
Hard to bench Watson against that Minnesota secondary.
Yeah, if Watson plays, it's Watson and Hopkins easy for me.
B-Rob's in line for a good game against Cleveland, too. I see why you're debating all of this. And then it's hard to bench Waddle, but now you have
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Reminder, it's a standard. So I think Robinson and whoever you want for your touchdown upside, but I think Hopkins is the better play.
Yeah,
I would go Robinson and Hopkins.
If I got a full practice report, I might consider Watson, but yeah, I'm fine. I would go Robinson and Hopkins, assuming Colt McCoy is playing. If it's not Colt McCoy, it's a pivot to Watson for me.
Josh?
I'm basically the same way. It's Hopkins, Watkins, or Watson, for me. And if Watson ends up being out, I'll gladly pivot to Brian Robinson.
So how about this? Watson's out. Trace McSorley starts. It's Brian Robinson and who else? Because I don't think it's Jalen Waddle.
Oh, that's a fun one. Yeah.
I don't think it's Waddle in a standard, but Najee and Deonta Foreman, I don't like their matchup. So I would go Waddle.
I would go Hopkins because even McSorley threw to him 10 times.
Okay, fair. Fine.
And against Atlanta,
I mean, you're following the targets at that point and just saying a prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, I don't know. Like, I know we talk all the time about how good the Bucs run defense is. They've been had quite a few times this year.
They're not very good.
Yeah.
The reason you look at him and say, holy shit, is because Levante David and Devin White are in the middle. The issue is their front four get no.
They really have not been the same since Sue left.
No, they get no push, which is the issue. Yeah. And Akeem Hicks is rotated in throughout. When Hicks is in the lineup, it's good. But they tend to just double team him. And yes, Devin White and Levante David are there in the second level, but they're at least 5 yards up the field before they get to him sometimes. So, yeah, I'll go B. Rob and Hopkins. You're right. Follow the targets at that point. Like DeAndre Hopkins catching 10% of his targets, that's tough.
So Foreman dropped 118 on the Bucs last time they played.
In Carolina, right? He didn't have a touchdown though, did he?
No touchdown.
Yeah, so that obviously in the standard sucks. 118's nice, but
yeah, I was gonna say
yeah, you're hoping for a touchdown. Is the Bills defense a must sit?
Are there better options? Yes, I wouldn't call them a must sit. They're playing for something, and they're playing for something against Cincinnati.
I have Buffalo beating Cincinnati this week, and then Cincinnati beating Buffalo in the playoffs whenever they meet each other. So I don't know if that helps answer your questions, but I do think Buffalo wins this week. It might be 34-31, so the defense might not play well. But
I mean, Cincinnati's coming off giving up 14 points to New England. They haven't had a negative game since Carolina in week 9, which is super weird. Never mind. I'm reading this the wrong way. So they beat the hell out of Carolina and put them into the negative. So they've allowed positive points to defenses, but they've been pretty bad. Like Pittsburgh only got 2, Tennessee only got 2, Kansas City only got 1. It's gotten better the last few weeks, 4 for Cleveland, 3 for Tampa Bay, and then a big 14 week for New England's defense. So that's where if they're going to give up 14 points to New England's defense, Buffalo's defense is viable. They're just not the best start this week.
So Marcus Jones did have a pick 6. Reminder. They had a pick 6.
Oh, that's right. That was that Burrow trash-ass throw.
Yeah, awful throw. And Marcus Jones, a.k.a. Deion Sanders, made a fantastic play. But then, too, New England in the second half, they just fucking Uche and Judon just turned it up, and I think they had 5 sacks in the second half. So they turned it on the second half. I don't think Buffalo has any interception playmakers in the secondary.
That's their biggest issue. Is
they don't have playmakers in the secondary. I don't think
especially with Hyde out.
Yeah, Hyde's out. I don't think they have a great pass rush either. Greg Rousseau is good, but since Von Miller's
he's
been
better
out,
with Von Miller.
He's way better with Von Miller. That's the thing is when
even what is it, Epinesa? I think that's
AJ Epinesa.
Yeah, he's okay, but he's a power rush guy. He has no speed at all.
Zero speed. Zero.
Yeah. They've only managed in the last 5 games. They've only managed more than 2 sacks 1 time, and they've had 2 games with no takeaways at all. So
that's why I don't like Buffalo. They can hold you to yardage, but they cannot turn the ball over or sack the quarterback. That's my biggest worry with Buffalo. And also,
that's why they went out and spent so much money on
Von Miller.
Yeah.
And the worry too, before the game against New England, for 5 straight games, Cincinnati did not allow more than 2 sacks against Joe Burrow.
Still going on. Back to week 9, they have not allowed more than 2 sacks. Joe, that's exactly the point I was about to bring up.
Outside of that New England game, they literally have not allowed 2 sacks.
Well, and keep in mind, too, they did just lose Lael Collins, their right tackle. So Joe, they're going to be playing with a backup.
Yeah.
Yahoo is only crediting New England with 2 sacks, Joe.
That's horseshit. There's no way they only had 2 sacks.
Yeah.
Really?
That's all. I was just looking at it. So yeah,
I mean, I have to go back and look, but I felt Judon himself had 2.
I know there's a lot of QB pressure. I just don't know how much they actually got to him. But yeah, they're saying the last time, interestingly enough, it was that
Week 9.
Yeah, it was against Cleveland back in Week 8. They allowed 5 sacks. They've not allowed more than 2 in any game since that.
Regardless, I think you could probably pick up a better defense personally. But
that's the point. Is the Bengals aren't giving up sacks. The Bills aren't getting turnovers. That's what you're looking for in a fantasy defense. It's probably not worth it.
Yep. Czar, last question. Chase, Higgins, Mixon, all on the same team. Should I roll them all out Monday and bench Waddle?
I'm getting really fucking tired of Joe Mixon. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think they're going to have to throw to stay in that game. No one can cover either Chase or Higgins in that secondary.
No way I'm benching either of those wide receivers.
Yeah.
In a PPR league, I would play Waddle over Mixon all day long. And I understand we're depending on Teddy Bridgewater. Fuck Joe Mixon. I am done with that dude. I'm going to have trouble.
The big upside to me, though, the big upside to me with Waddle is that Teddy's not really going to throw downfield. Like, he's looking at these short underneath routes.
But here's
Waddle runs those. Like, I mean, that's his 86-yard touchdown was literally 9 yards from the line of scrimmage, and then he bolted down the field. Like, that's the advantage to Jalen Waddle.
But Tyreek does that too.
I get that, absolutely. And, Hill's going to have his, sure.
Yeah.
But, just that big playability that Waddle brings, he only needs 2 touches. Mixon, you got to pray for a 30-touch game from him to have any sort of efficiency, because that's just who he is right now.
Well,
Mixon, you got to look in the mirror and wonder how you're still in the championship with this dude on your fucking team. I'm so tired of Joe Mixon right now.
Well, not to continue on the Bengals here. Yeah, I would bench Mixon and go Waddle. Not to continue on the Bengals here, but my dad asked me, like, it's Cincy at this point, would they be able to make a deep playoff run with their run game? I said, fuck no. They're averaging like 2.5 yards a carry because they're really good, or they've gotten so much better at pass blocking. Their run blocking is really bad. It is terrible.
Yeah.
So,
we're starting to see the Joe Mixon from like 3 years ago, prior to Burrow getting there.
Yeah.
It was the guy that was, just churning through 260 plus carries and 3.9 yards per carry.
Yep.
Like, that's the Joe Mixon that we're back to.
Yeah.
Real quick on the Waddle, I went back and looked at the 2 games where Bridgewater's played heavy snaps. It's 2 different games. Cincinnati, Waddle caught 2 balls out of 5 targets for 39 yards. But then against Minnesota in week 6, 6 catches on 10 targets for 129 yards.
So tale of 2 secondaries. I'm not saying Cincinnati's secondary by any means is
yeah.
good, but they did have Chidobe Awuzie active, who could have seen time against Waddle.
Yeah.
Minnesota has had Cameron Dantzler as their DB1 all year.
Yeah.
They don't have a secondary. They legitimately don't have a secondary. Their first round bounce. Their defense is so fucking bad. They have to go 11-0 in 1-score games.
Yep.
That's not a playoff defense. You can't. I'm sorry. Like, there were times where Brady had a shitty defense. Like, the 32nd ranked defense and made the Super Bowl. That's Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins is not doing that. You cannot convince me Kirk Cousins is doing that.
Unless they let him play all of his games at 1 p.m. when nobody's watching.
Yes. 1 p.m. on a Sunday only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't play any Saturday playoff games. Sunday at 4:25? Hell no. Done. Ugh. Got Tua. We playing Daniel Jones or Minshew the second. I mean, I like Daniel Jones.
And I love Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I don't think... I think
not
my only
Minshew plays, but
you think Hurts plays?
Hurts doesn't play. If Hurts doesn't play, then yes, you're starting Minshew.
Hurts missed the walkthrough today. I guess he doesn't really need walkthroughs, but I think it's Minshew.
I'll go Minshew. I don't know. I don't know why. They're in New Orleans, right?
No,
in Philadelphia.
No, they're home against New Orleans. Yeah, never mind. Sorry. I thought it was in New Orleans. I don't know why any team that goes to
there's a chance that Philly could end up with like 4 straight home games here, because they finished the season with 2 home games. They'll have the first round bye, a home game in the divisional round. If they win that, a home game in the conference championship.
I'll go Minshew. Yeah, I mean, if Hurts doesn't play, Minshew. If not, Daniel Jones is still a very viable starting quarterback there. Do you play Mike Evans or Darius Slayton this week in a 0.5-point PPR?
I think this is a legit question for how bad Mike Evans has been this year.
It's very much a legit question, except Indy shuts down deep wide receivers, made Mike Williams their bitch. This is going to be a huge Richie James game. Give me Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'll go Evans. I mean, honestly, the Giants wide receiver you want is Hodgins. It's not Slayton right now.
Richie James.
Either one of them at this point. Yeah, I'll go Mike Evans. God, he sucks, but I'll go Mike Evans.
Thankfully, so does Carolina's secondary and their corner. I can't think of his name. Broke his wrist. So
J.C. Horn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's big time. Czar, thanks guys. Going into 7 championship games,
That's
hoping
awesome.
for at least 4. We're hoping for all 7.
That's
yeah,
right.
baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Kate and the Colts fan. Mac or Danny Dimes, dude. It is never fucking Mac Jones.
Never Mac Jones.
Literally never. You could put in an injured Tua Tagovailoa who is in concussion protocol not playing.
Look, Miami's defense isn't all that.
Gosh, shut the fuck up. It's Mac Jones.
Yeah, it's not Mac Jones.
It's not even close.
I'd rather be wrong with Daniel Jones than right with Mac Jones.
Oh my goodness. He's not going to have any time to throw. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips going to be in the backfield in 2 seconds. Haskins or Murray at running back. I would rather Murray. I'm not ready to trust a backup against the Dallas
Murray's
defense.
been bad lately, hasn't he? Like, that's a tough one right there.
Guys, Denver's been bad, okay?
Well, they're not getting any fucking better.
Well, Murray had a 100-yard game 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so are we go? I guess it would have just been last week. You're right. And then now we have no coach motivation. So yeah, let's go Laddie Murray.
100%. And then Conklin, Waller, or Schultz. I think we already touched on Tyler Conklin. Are you playing Waller or Schultz over him?
I'm high on Schultz this week. I know it's probably wrong. So I would rank them Schultz, Conklin, Waller. But I think Schultz has a good week against Tennessee tomorrow with Dallas having to throw more.
Josh?
I'm fine with Schultz. Yeah.
I'll go Conklin. How about that?
Conklin's not a wrong answer.
Yeah. Would you start Hodgins over Murray or Hopkins if McSorley starts? So essentially, will we start Isaiah Hodgins over Latavius Murray, or if McSorley starts, DeAndre Hopkins? I think I already tucked on DeAndre Hopkins. You're probably chasing the
Denver
target
is
there.
Kansas City, right?
Denver's in Kansas City. Honestly, I would play Isaiah Hodgins right now over Latavius
I was
Murray.
I think I would go Hodgins over Murray, but I think I'm running Hopkins over both of these guys no matter what. The targets are there. So.
You guys made a good point. 10 targets, like he's got to fucking catch.
It's pretty unfathomable that you have 10 targets and only 1 catch, like
for 4 yards too, not even for like 11 or anything like that.
That's rough, and especially for a guy like Hopkins who brings down just about everything.
You can put anything in the same state as him. Yeah, that's just that shows the awful accuracy of Trace McSorley. So, Gator says, "Great show." Oh,
Thanks, Gator.
Appreciate you, man.
I love that Gator's out here giving the best advice in the chat. He's getting call outs for advice.
Hell yeah, Gator, come back more often.
Yeah.
Caden, this tells you how bad Mac Jones is. His league mate screwed him over, took everyone off waivers except Mac Jones.
In Josh's league, they left Nick Foles. In your league, they left Mac Jones. That should tell you everything you need to know.
They left Mac Jones on waivers because they said, you know what? If we're going to leave him with one quarterback, let's leave him with Mac Jones.
I love that so much.
Imagine. Oh, God, he sucks. George says, forgot to mention he has Hodgins and Richie James on wide receiver. Either one of them over Mike Evans.
Really? I'm high on
Kenny
Evans
Moore still
week.
out?
Who?
Is Kenny Moore still out?
For
I
Indy?
have not seen a report on Kenny Moore.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think
It'll take me a second here.
Because if Kenny Moore is out, this is easy Richie James for me.
he hasn't played in forever, and there's no motivation for Indy to absolutely do
fair.
anything. So
I
would
thought
say,
he was back this Monday night, but I could have.
Not with Keenan.
I don't pay
Allen
near as
pitching.
much attention to defenses as you do, Joe. So.
I don't believe
Moore
Moore
was not back on Monday night.
Okay.
And there are no updates on him at all. That's in the easy to find news. So.
Pick up Richie James and play him.
Yeah, I would go Richie James then. I mean, let me see this really quick because now this is gonna fucking irk me.
I like Richie James a lot, but I am high on Mike Evans this week.
Nope.
I mean, Colts allow since week 10. Colts are allowing the 10th most fantasy points in the slot, and that's where Richie James lives. So.
That's what I was gonna say. And Josh, you hit it on the head. Is if you look at raw Colts numbers, it looks like they're good against the wide receiver. But then if you go in and look and see who is beating them, Richie James is going to beat them. So.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones is looking for him. Like they're scheming to get him open. I mean, Dable, that's kind of what he did in Buffalo, getting Cole Beasley the football.
Well, there's another thing too. We know Daniel Jones loves his guys on short routes. Sterling Shepard was one of the best route runners in that offense, and anytime Daniel Jones in the lineup, it was almost a consistent Sterling Shepard's going to have 8 targets this game.
Yeah.
Every single game. And that's Richie James now at this point. And Caden, as the Colts fan, chimes in and says, it's absolute pain. Kenny Moore is out, and he even says Richie James over Hodgins and Murray. So just to give you a little backup there, George. And then he also adds in, with all Tennessee's inactives, he's afraid the Cowboys will shut down the passing game and just run out the clock. I wanted to say this was a trap game for Dallas because not anymore. No, God, no, not anymore. Because it was a giant win against Philly, and then you go. This
will be a first half game,
and
this will be a first half game. I think you'll see. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a lot of CeeDee Lamb. I think Michael Gallup's going to get a lot of run just to kind of get him more involved, because they want to I feel like he's slowly been working himself back in from this, ACL return. Yeah. And he makes some big plays in the red zone. He's had a couple TDs down there, but I think the most catches he's had in a game is like 4. And he hasn't really had like high yardage totals.
I agree to be scared of their passing game. And I have obviously been telling people to start Dalton Schultz. I still like Schultz. I think he'll have a good first half. My larger concern here is you have a not 100% Ezekiel Elliott and a not 100% Tony Pollard. If they have to go run game in the second half, is this going to be a game where we're seeing 3rd and 4th string running backs the entire time? So
probably.
It's a tough week for Cowboys player fantasy owners.
Yeah.
Good evening, Anthony. Needs to flex just 1 in a full PPR. Swifty, Pacheco, Christian Watson, J.K. Dobbins. At this point, fuck the Chiefs' backfield if it's not anyone but Jerick McKinnon. At this point, that he's just the big play guy. Watson, obviously questionable. J.K. Dobbins and his limp ass are still averaging 1,000 yards a carry. And DeAndre Swift is at home against Chicago. Anybody take the reins here?
This is Pacheco for me. I know you want to bash on him, Joe, but I mean, Denver just got shredded by fucking Cam Akers. I like Pacheco is going to be just fine. I don't care if it's PPR or not.
DeAndre Swift is flat out untrustable in fantasy football right now, and it pains me to say that. It's probably Pacheco for me as well. If Watson were 100%, he'd be interesting, but Pacheco is straight up had 13 or more carries since week 10 in every single game. He just needs to find the damn end zone for you. So
I have said 2 weeks because Pacheco had a really good matchup to start Pacheco. We always take out the fact that Kansas City doesn't give a fuck about how bad your defense is on the ground.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't care. They do not care. J.K. Dobbins. If Watson's healthy, throw in Watson. I'm fine with that. But I would go J.K. Dobbins. Untrustable. Pacheco can't fucking find the end zone.
I mean, how can you sit there and say Dobbins is trustable? Fucking Gus Edwards outrushed him last week. Outtouched him, if I'm not mistaken.
But J.K. Dobbins averages 1,000 yards a carry.
You're just hoping for that big one.
Well, a big one within the 25-yard line because he cannot outrun anybody at this point. Honestly, you're hoping Christian Watson's healthy. That's the answer. Correct. But I cannot trust Pacheco in the slightest. I don't love Dobbins either, but Pacheco has burned me too many times, and he's not the one that's going to get the important touches. He's the dirty work guy. You don't want a dirty work guy in fantasy football. Just sucks. It's a tough situation. Okay. Downsides, because we have 5 minutes left. Josh, 2-1 last week. Rashad White had upside and still was outscored by Fournette. Who would have thought?
Yeah. You guys gave me a lot of shit on Saturday about that one, huh? What happened?
You can't call it a goddamn downside.
You said, you said to start.
It was a downside because everybody's on the fucking Rashad White over Leonard Fournette bandwagon. That's why it was a downside.
But you told five different listeners
who
to start
was near
Rashad
the
White.
front, as someone who was leading that bandwagon, I am firmly off of that bandwagon. Let me just throw that out.
It was funny because you told 5 separate people to play Rashad White.
Yeah, that's what threw me off as well.
No one would have given a shit.
Still, I mean, he scored 15 points. He was a top 15 running back, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God. Okay. You have Josh Jacobs fails to top 10 fantasy points. So obviously he's going to get 1,000 because you said the same thing last week about Carolina running backs. DK Metcalf under 50 yards receiving this week. He will see Sauce Gardner. Tampa Bay will lose outright to the Panthers on Sunday. Ryan, you're 1-2 last week. You and Josh basically agree. You have Josh Jacobs not top 24 against San Francisco. You have Austin Eckler not top 24 against the Rams. And CMC not top 24 against Vegas. And you say you would bench all 3 if in your championship match.
I don't think one of them is playable this week. The San Fran one is obviously the harder call because I think CMC is only going to play the first half. It's just a question of what is he going to do in that first half. Austin Eckler, I think this is going to end up being a tie. I think you're going the way of Derrick Henry. I don't think Austin Eckler is actually going to play this game at all. And then Josh Jacobs is just going up against the buzzsaw fucking defense, and I want absolutely nothing to do with him. Christian McCaffrey is the one that's going to make me look stupid if I'm going to look stupid here. I just have this feeling we don't see him in the second half. I was going to further my prediction. I think Jordan Mason scores more points than Christian McCaffrey in this game.
The Josh Jacobs thing for me is like I'm dealing with that because one of my championship matchups has been on the back of Barkley and Jacobs.
Yeah.
And I do not feel comfortable at all starting Jacobs. Like I'm deciding on whether to keep him in or play Jacoby Myers or Deontay Johnson, which seems very unfathomable for me.
With Jarrett Stidham was the final nail in Josh Jacobs' coffin. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco allows 75 rushing yards per game.
Yeah,
like that's it. And they're like since Renfro and Waller have come back, they're not throwing to Jacobs at all. So his PPR value is basically if he doesn't score a rushing touchdown, it ain't it. And he hasn't done that in 3 weeks. And I don't see him doing that with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback because they're not going to be able to move the football.
Correct.
Damian Harris to the Raiders next year.
Telling you.
All right. I was 2-1 last week. I'm a full 500 on the year, so that's fun to say. Jarrett Stidham is a bottom 2 quarterback this week.
Woo! 31 or 32, folks.
Could be 33 if we get a backup in there.
Ooh. Well, then he's bottom. Then he's -1. Does that count?
That's true. That's a good question. You know, I it's funny. I was foreshadowing Jarrett Stidham on the downsides. Bottom 2. I didn't want to go I didn't want to stick myself to literally QB 32. I felt that was like a little too.
I like it a lot.
I was like, all right, I was like, you know what? Trace McSorley was QB 31. So if I could, guess QB 31 in the wrong area, let me guess it in the right area.
I like it.
Stidham will have 3 or 4 turnovers. Guaranteed. It's unbelievable. Najee Harris outside the top 16 against Baltimore. He didn't really do anything till the last drive.
Yep.
So also
that was after Jaylen Warren was ruled out and they started actually using Najee in pass catching situations because they really haven't done that much the last month and a half or so.
Since Warren's been healthy, essentially.
When do we get worried about Najee Harris not averaging 4 yards a carry?
I want to see what Pittsburgh does this offseason, especially in the draft.
Yeah.
If they're not drafting or signing offensive linemen, I am going to be firmly out on Najee Harris.
Way out.
Yeah.
Way out.
At a certain point, you've got to invest in the offensive line. Like, look what the Bengals did. They had a slow start, but these guys have been balling.
But I'm going to throw some of this on Najee. At a certain point, if you're a first-round running back, you got to break a fucking couple tackles and get a long run. So,
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is cause for concern, but he has no offensive line to run behind. He's had a bottom 3 offensive line the last 2 years. So, and then if Josh can call a benching, so can I. Mac Jones gets benched for Bailey Zappi.
Joe, I love it.
Mine was a little easier because they'd already been hinting at it in the media.
Yeah, this is
let me preface this. It's not happening.
Oh, okay.
But if it does,
you're starting 0-1. That works.
It would be sweet. Dude, I want Brian Hoyer in at quarterback over Mac Jones.
God.
They've still not activated him off the IR. I thought they would bring him up.
Of course fucking not. Why would they?
Yeah.
Dude, Bailey Zappi, please, God. I was like, what do you have to lose? You're not, there's no way you make the playoffs. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?
There's a team in this league that's starting Jarrett Stidham when they still have a playoff chance.
It's a very slim playoff chance.
Well, it's a 0 playoff chance now.
I mean, the Patriots have a 23% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
It feels like 0, though. Let me tell you.
What was the Patriots' record with Zappi in a quarterback?
2-0.
Nah, they lost that last one, I thought.
2-0.
I'll say you would know better than I do, obviously. So
he won against Detroit, and then he played one more game. I forget against who, but he won. He was 2-0 as a starter. He didn't start the game against Chicago. Mac Jones did.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
And Zappi came in and helped them score
I was thinking the 2 interceptions. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And then Zappi came in and helped them score the only offensive touchdown of the game. Fuck Mac Jones. He's so bad.
That's the exact game I was thinking of, Joe. So.
He's so bad. Yeah, 2-0 as a starter. Who would have fucking thunk it? Mac Jones and Russell Wilson had the same amount of passing touchdowns going into last week.
And one of them is absolute garbage.
And the other's Russell Wilson.
I was waiting to hear which one you decided to call out there.
My league mates screwed me over and took everyone off waivers except Mac Jones. How? Oh, my God.
I love that Joe went back to find that.
Of course I did. It's like 20 comments up. Jeez. Steven, what's up, my guy? For Flex to go with Zay Jones. So many Hassan Haskins questions.
Yeah, a lot of pivots to Haskins. I guess kudos to you guys for grabbing your handcuffs.
Yeah, Chuba or Hollywood. So Zay is obviously an interesting one because Houston, while they have not been good to quarterbacks and receivers, the last few weeks they have been playing like a football team.
So Jacksonville is the team that bothers me the most right now because we know Tennessee has nothing to play for and they're not playing anybody. Could Jacksonville pull a similar stunt at halftime? Because all Jacksonville needs to do is also beat Tennessee next week. And so I think they want to beat Houston. And this would be a lot more interesting if there was any chance Tennessee was going to win on Thursday. They're not, so it just doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, see, I think it's a bit different in Peterson's case because he's a first-year head coach with this team. And I feel like he's trying to build something for the long term, whereas Vrabel's been there, they're established. He has some aging veterans on the team that obviously he needs to get more rest for, and they've kind of backed themselves into this corner, whereas Jacksonville wants to stay hot.
And
right?
Jacksonville's healthy, and I think that speaks volumes that they are healthy right now. So
I would go Zay Jones.
Go Zay Jones. I just wanted to voice my worry about Jacksonville. I would also go Zay Jones.
I mean, I'm worried about Zay Jones just because Houston doesn't give up a ton of wide receivers.
And
that's my biggest thing.
I agree with that, but Houston has looked like an actual football team these last 3 weeks, so teams have had to play football against them.
Yeah.
They haven't just said, here you go, Travis, run for 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
They've actually had to play
but again, like that's really what I think this offense is going to be this week. It's going to be Travis Etienne, Jermichael Hasty sprinkled in, and Evan Ingram, because those are the weak spots in this team. And that's really where the football is going for Jacksonville's offense anyway. Zay Jones has dropped a couple duds recently.
Oh yeah, but he also had a 3-touchdown game.
And what was a really good matchup as well.
Yeah. Also, Frank Reich will be the offensive coordinator for your Jacksonville Jaguars in 2023.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's the offensive coordinator in Philly, because we know how much Nick Sirianni loves him, and Shane Steichen's now starting to get some head coaching buzz. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I figured he'd go back and join Peterson in Jacksonville.
Good.
Just real quick, it was way back in week 5, 8 targets for Zay Jones, but he only caught 3 for 12 balls against 12 yards against Houston. So,
and I know Houston's defense is banged up. Stingley's not there. Yeah. And I think there are other starting corners out there.
Jalen Petrie has played like a madman.
Yeah.
As
Petrie's
of late.
Played really well.
He's played like a freaking all-pro. God. Stidham's going to kill in Vegas because Pats fans can't have nice things anymore. No. Lee, would I like to see that? Would I like to see the fucking 49ers lose to Jarrett Stidham? Hell yeah, that would be hilarious. Will it happen? You could give him 1,000 starts, and San Francisco would go 1,000-0 against Jarrett Stidham. They'd somehow manage an extra win.
I want to see that Madden simulation over and over and over and over.
Ready? Just ready. Let's all visualize what the Raiders 49ers game is going to look like this week.
To be fair, I don't think Brock Purdy has a very high rating in Madden. So
visualize it. Visualize it. Now think of that happening 1,000 times over and over again. That's the Madden simulation.
23-0. That's what the game's going to end. Calling it.
20 because the 49ers are going to take the foot off the pedal after 6 minutes
at halftime. Yep.
No, 6 minutes. Yeah. Yep. Scamper's coming in with another one. Have you talked about Curtis Samuel being a wide receiver 1 this week with his best friend back under center yet? I mean, this is true.
So.
Terry McLaurin.
A lot of Wentz's touchdowns though went to Jahan Dotson.
Yep. Yeah, he was sitting there for those deep balls.
So Terry McLaurin's fantasy value just went back in the fucking toilet.
And that pains me so much right now.
Well, and that's doubly so because Cleveland has one good corner who is going to focus on McLaurin. So
I don't know about Curtis Samuel being a wide receiver 1, but I do like Curtis Samuel this week. I will give you that.
Yeah. I like Jahan Dotson a lot too.
Scambrose says Bosa just had 12,000 sacks in my brain simulation.
And that was just game 1.
That was just game 1. Because he was going up against right tackle Alex Leatherwood.
No, Leatherwood's in Chicago now.
Yeah, they cut him. The teams always do well when they cut multiple first and second round picks going into a season.
So fucking bad. Okay, to round it out here, Ryan, your stream of the week. You got Goff against Chicago. It's Goff at home. We don't need to dive into
Literally, my notes say he's at home.
He's at home.
All I put.
Tyler Conklin in Seattle. We already discussed it multiple times. Seattle has the second most fantasy points to wide receiver or to tight ends. And good with Mike White's back at quarterback.
Yep.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars play a Pee Wee football team.
Yep. I'm nervous about Jacksonville. Let me be perfectly clear,
That's
but
fair.
I'm still going to hitch my wagon. Giants are a great alternative.
I was just about to say, who's number 2 on your list? Because that's who we need to start.
Giants are going to be number 2 on the list.
Start the Giants. Smash.
You're looking for teams that have something to play for, and I am agreeing with Josh that Doug Peterson is not going to let these guys take this week off, and that's why I'm going Jacksonville. So
my P corner for the Dolphins at the Patriots.
Still love that name.
I love it as well.
Probably the best thing we've done on this show.
You know what? It's Joe's P corner presented by Manscaped because I feel like that's just fitting, right?
Damn, how did we miss this? We finally get to this in week 17. Like, what are we doing?
Manscaped has these really good mats that help relieve foot odor, and they're great for your pee corner.
I think about to say mats that help for any dribble.
Don't pee on the mats.
Okay, I was like, where are we going with this?
I think they're shower mats.
Club Fantasy, 20% off and free shipping, manscaped.com. All that Christmas money you just got, you can go spend it on my P corner.
Go get that perfect package. It's legit.
Right.
Perfect package. It really is. It's a great gift. Fade Raheem Mostert. I don't like it.
Well, they're going back to Jeff Wilson.
Yeah,
immediately.
they shifted right back to Jeff Wilson. It really fucked me in the Club Fantasy Writers League. Let me tell you.
But like again, that's it. It just feels like an unpredictable backfield. But at the same time, New England has looked good against the run recently. So I'm playing off that. The play to me is Waddle. I imagine he will run most of his routes underneath. That's where they struggle. I think Marcus Jones will see Tyreek Hill. I don't know.
Jones ain't going to keep up with Tyreek Hill, though. I mean, nobody's going to keep up with Tyreek Hill.
Fucking Deion Sanders will. Watch what? I am not. Watch your mouth. Marcus Jones is a top tier player in this league. Name me the last guy to score an offensive, defensive, and special teams touchdown in one season. It's Marcus fucking Jones. It's Marcus Jones. I actually think the last person was Julian Edelman, which is absolutely hilarious. Yeah, because remember he played defense for like those 2 games because they needed a DB. I like Waddle. Honestly, I didn't like many people in this Miami offense. There's something about it, man. I can't get behind Miami. For everyone says how good they are, they're a 500 team. For everyone that says how good they are, they're a 500 team.
Well, I mean, Joe, you and I have kind of been pouring water on that defense all season long. Like the offense, there's something there, even with Tua. The defense needs work, and they're going to be able to put work into it.
Well, timeout. Did you know Xavier Howard is a Pro Bowl cornerback?
No. I think that's a lot of name recognition voting there.
So my statement stands. Every cornerback in the NFL sucks. Because if Xavier Howard is making a Pro Bowl, can you imagine? It's Pat Surtain, Xavier Howard.
Well, let's not forget that Tyler Huntley is a Pro Bowl quarterback.
4th alternate Pro Bowl quarterback, Tyler Huntley, voted in with 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, folks.
I do know he was voted over Derek Carr, and that feels kind of poetic at this point.
The fans knew something. The rest of us didn't until 6 hours ago.
Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler last year. That was fun. Austin says, love that he has ETN against Ryan this week. Don't we all?
That would be the
Steven has Maher starting as his... Shh, everyone quiet. We have a kicker question. He has Maher starting as his kicker. Picked up Bradley Patterson off the bench, who won AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Where do you feel Maher sits this week in terms of kicker rankings? He's an indoor kicker, kicking outside. Short weeks don't really affect kickers, but he's outside as an indoor kicker, kicking on a short week in an area that has been way colder than it normally is.
I mean, they're projecting 52 degrees Thursday.
Oh, that's good.
Not, yeah,
that's good. That's fine. I've never been a big Brett Maher fan. When he's indoor,
he's kicker 1 on the season.
That's and he put up 18 last week.
Yeah,
he hits fucking bombs. But a lot of his points, if you look at his points, well, he's had when he kicked the 60-yarder, that was either against Minnesota at home or in Dallas. I forget where that game was. His best games have come indoors.
Yeah, I think the big worry with Maher, there's definitely going to be some rain throughout Thursday in Tennessee. So the field conditions may not be up to standard, so to speak.
Also, if you feel Tennessee's putting their foot off the gas, it's just going to be extra points for Maher.
And that's my concern, but is Dallas not going to take their foot off the gas, and then it's field goals? So
I don't
I still would stick with Maher personally, but
I cut him in the Club Fantasy League, so clearly I'm not going to. But I had Ryan Suckup, who is my kicker 1 this week, so that was kind of my decision making there.
I was going to say I tried to pull up Linda's rankings, but I think she doesn't usually do them till Thursday. So
gotcha. He's not that I'm anywhere near as good as Linda, but he's number 9 in my rankings right now, so he's startable but not exciting.
Patterson or Maher?
Maher. Patterson, I'm not high on. We've seen bad miss games from him, at least in the past. So he's not even in my top 20. I'm not a big Patterson guy.
just looking at Maher, I get that he might be kicker 1 on the year here, but looking at his games, his best games are indoors. Philly, 16 points. He had 12 against Jacksonville, but again, very nice weather in Florida. 11 against Houston, indoors. 22 against Minnesota, indoors. I mean, he's even had bad games, so he had 6 against Indy. That was also indoors. But Green Bay, outdoors, colder, 4. The Rams, he had 10 indoors. Washington was at home, indoors, 15. Brett, like he's gotten a lot of his points in singular games.
Yeah. I mean, that's most kickers, though. Like, it's been a rough season for kickers. Evan McPherson's been absolute trash. Daniel Carlson's kind of led the way.
Look at Graham Gano stats. He's been consistent all year.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's just, again, that big 22-point game was obviously massive. Kicked a 60-yard field goal there. I think he had like 6 field goals. I don't love Maher this week because he's outdoors. I'm good with Riley Patterson. They're in Houston, right? That's indoors.
They are in Houston.
He had 12 at Jacksonville 2 weeks ago.
That's what I said. Yeah, at Jacksonville, very nice weather outside. 1 p.m. game. I mean, that's like, if you can't make a field goal in fucking Florida, why are you even an NFL kicker?
I mean, fair.
Yeah. What do you mean? So yes, he has his best game outdoors has been 70 degrees and sunny. That's perfect kicker weather. So cause conversation.
I say Patterson's come on as of late, 12, 10, 13. So
I would go Patterson. That offense has just been more high powered.
It's never a bad idea picking a kicker in a dome, plain and simple. So
100%.
True.
100%. I just hate dome kickers going outside. That's all. I don't like it. Controlled environment to an uncontrolled environment.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yep. All right, gents.
Did it.
That's everything. I tried to throw a little piece of lint in front of my camera as like a hooray confetti, but it didn't work. It went behind my laptop. That's everything, folks.
Talking props.
Oh, no. Yeah, sorry. Hello. Talking
Jesus,
props.
Man.
Skip it.
Michael Gallup, 3 receptions higher. Dak Prescott, higher than 0.5 interceptions. Manscaped, shave your balls.
I'll throw out real quick. Underdog. Me and Josh have been doing this thing where we were picking for the Thursday night game. Underdog does not have any props for Tennessee right now, so you technically couldn't even pick both of our props right now. I will throw out Dak Prescott has thrown an interception in 5 consecutive games. So unless they can get him out before he throws a pick, his ass is throwing a pick in this game.
Good for Dak. All right. For Josh, Ryan, myself, and for all of you, go win your fucking leagues because none of us can. Yeah. Well, I can.
Well, you can. Ryan and I can.
Right.
Ryan and I can.
Me and Josh are facing each other in one league.
We are, yeah.
Almost 2, but he fucked it up.
I'm so mad.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Austin, if you're listening.
He is listening. He just commented 7 minutes ago that he has ETN against Ryan this week. Always remember. Oh, wait. No, hold on. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. There's other things we do. You should check them out.
A lot of other things we do.
There's a lot of other things. I can't name them all. They're in a show sheet that I don't have pulled up right now. No. We have our final start-sit different day of the 2022 season. I'll say this live on air. I won't be present for it. My uncle is taking me up in a flight in his plane. So I will not be present for it. Any questions that you may have, just know these guys do tend to be right sometimes. So they're good. They're good to listen to.
We also have Julia Papworth from the Fantasy Footballers joining us.
Hell fucking yeah, we do. Julia Papworth from the Fantasy Footballers. That first guest in a couple weeks because it was just us last week. So first guest in a couple weeks. We'll also be on New Year's Eve. So kick off your New Year's Eve in the best way possible. Sitting in front of a TV screen with us. Bang. Yes, there you go. And if your balls have dropped, Manscaped. Right? That was a good one. Manscaped. Look at that. Ryan got the point right. You were thinking about it in your head which way to go.
I was. I had to remember which side my belt was
I
on.
saw it up here. I saw the machine working. All right, friends. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. We will see you next week for our first show of the technical fantasy football